Ever wondered what secrets are hidden inside the world's most famous book? The Bible is more than just ancient text. It's a library of stories, poetry, and history that has shaped our world for thousands of years. But even if you've read it, there are some truly wild and wonderful details you might have missed. Today, we're diving into 20 mind-blowing facts about the Bible that will change the way you see it. First up, did you know the Bible was written over a span of 1,500 years? That's a millennium and a half. Over 40 different authors from all walks of life, kings, fishermen, prophets, and shepherds contributed to it. It's amazing how, despite being written across different continents and eras, it tells one consistent, overarching story about God's relationship with humanity. And it's not just one book, it's a library of 66 books. Think of it like a collection. You've got history, jaw-dropping poetry, detailed prophecies, personal letters, and even songs. The Old Testament contains 39 books, and the New Testament has 27. This variety gives readers so many different ways to connect with its message. Now, let's talk about age. In the early parts of the Old Testament, people lived for an incredibly long time. I'm talking about Adam living to 930, Noah to 950, and Methuselah topping the charts at 969 years old. While it sounds unbelievable, these long lifespans might symbolize humanity's original closeness to God and creation before things went downhill. Here's a fun one. God sometimes used animals to get his point across. In the book of Numbers, a man named Balaam is on a journey, and his donkey suddenly starts talking to him. Yes, a talking donkey. It was trying to save him from an angel he couldn't see. It is a powerful reminder that God can use the most unexpected and humble means to teach us important lessons. The Bible is also filled with epic, nature-defying miracles. We've all heard of God parting the Red Sea for Moses and the Israelites, right? But he also provided water from a rock in the desert and even made the sun stand still in the sky during a battle for Joshua. These events aren't just cool stories. They show God's ultimate power over the natural world. And for all you romantics out there, the Bible has some seriously beautiful love poetry. The Song of Songs, or Song of Solomon, is an entire book that celebrates human love, desire, and marriage with stunning, passionate imagery. It's a beautiful part of the Bible that affirms that emotion, beauty, and love are gifts to be cherished. One of the most inspiring themes is how God chooses unlikely heroes. Moses, who led a nation out of slavery, had a stutter and was terrified of public speaking. Gideon, who became a great military leader, came from the weakest clan and saw himself as insignificant. And David, the famous king, started out as the youngest shepherd boy in his family. It's a recurring message. Faith and courage matter far more than your status or abilities. The names in the Bible are also packed with meaning. They're not just random labels. For example, Adam means man or humanity. Eve means life-giver. And the name Jesus means God saves. These names often foreshadow a person's destiny or reveal their core identity, adding another layer of depth to the stories. Speaking of Jesus, let's talk about the shortest verse in the entire Bible. It's just 2 words. Jesus wept. This happens in the story where his friend Lazarus has died. In that tiny sentence, we see the immense compassion and humanity of Jesus. It proves that you don't need a lot of words to convey powerful emotion. The Bible's reach is simply unparalleled. It holds the Guinness World Record for the most translated book in history. At least parts of it have been translated into over 3,000 languages, making its stories accessible to billions of people across the globe, from bustling cities to remote villages. Jesus himself was known for performing incredible miracles. He didn't just do them to show off his power. Each miracle was a lesson and an act of compassion. He turned water into wine at a wedding to save a family from embarrassment, and he fed over 5,000 people with just a few loaves of bread and fish. These signs pointed to who he was and the coming of God's kingdom. You might be surprised to learn that a huge chunk of the New Testament is actually made up of letters. Apostles like Paul, Peter, and John wrote letters or epistles to the early Christian communities. These letters weren't stuffy theological documents. They were practical guides on faith, morality, and how to live together as a community. Jesus was a master storyteller. He often taught using parables, simple, relatable stories that explain complex spiritual truths. For instance, the parable of the Good Samaritan uses a story about helping a stranger to teach what it really means to love your neighbor. It was his way of making profound ideas accessible to everyone. The Bible also talks about the Holy Spirit empowering believers. The book of Acts describes the day of Pentecost, when the disciples were filled with the Holy Spirit. They suddenly gained the courage to speak boldly and were even able to speak in different languages to the diverse crowd in Jerusalem. That was a dramatic sign of God's active presence and guidance in their lives. One of the most fascinating aspects is how the Old and New Testaments connect. Hundreds of prophecies made in the Old Testament were fulfilled centuries later in the life of Jesus. The prophet Micah predicted the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem, and Matthew's Gospel records that's exactly where Jesus was born. The prophet Isaiah described a suffering servant in detail, which Christians see as a prophecy of Jesus' crucifixion. It shows a divine plan unfolding across history. Jesus was also a radical figure who constantly challenged the cultural norms of his day. He taught people to love their enemies, which was a revolutionary idea. He welcomed women as his followers and students, giving them a status unheard of at the time. He always emphasized that what's in your heart matters more than just following religious rules. Another interesting fact is that the New Testament was mostly written in Greek. Even though Jesus and his disciples spoke Aramaic in their daily lives, the Gospels and letters were written in Koine Greek. This was the common language of the Roman Empire, which allowed the message to spread far and wide, much like English does today. When it comes to Jesus' life, we get for different perspectives. For Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John each tell a story with a unique focus. Matthew presents Jesus as the long-awaited Messiah King. Mark's account is fast-paced, focusing on Jesus' actions. Luke highlights his compassion for the poor and marginalized. And John's Gospel dives deep into his divine nature, famously starting with "In the beginning was the Word." The Bible also contains a genre known as apocalyptic literature, which can be pretty wild. The book of Revelation is the most famous example. It's filled with symbolic visions of cosmic battles, angels, and prophecies about the end times. While it can seem confusing, its main purpose was to give hope and encourage believers to stay faithful, even in the face of intense suffering. Finally, the apostles were incredible travelers. After Jesus' ascension, they didn't just stay in Jerusalem. The Apostle Paul, for example, journeyed thousands of miles on foot and by sea across what is now Turkey, Greece, Italy. He faced shipwrecks, riots, and imprisonment, all to share the message of the gospel. Their dedication to spreading this story is a huge reason why Christianity grew into a global faith. So there you have it, 20 amazing facts that show just how deep, complex, and fascinating the Bible really is. It's a book of history, a guide for life, and a story of love that continues to resonate with people all over the world. Thanks so much for watching. If you found these facts interesting, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history and faith. Let me know in the comments which fact surprised you the most. See you next time.